I thought you
They
were going to
didn't
tell
want to
us
hear
that
it.
they put you in a prison or something like that. That would have been good.
No, although someday, one of these days, I'll tell you my blindfold story. I was blindfolded and
Hmm.
put in the back of a car. Yeah,
Very nice. Very.
yeah,
Let me
that's a
point
story for
out.
another day.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Let me point out that the rumor going on that I've been reading, and I admit they come from what I would call the dissident press, is that the people inside the Chinese Communist Party want more collective decision making. And there's a battle going on between hardliners and reformers. Now, the reason why that's interesting is because we've actually seen that historically in China
Yeah,
since Mao's death. You've seen these cyclical changes of
yeah,
power from
and even before Mao.
hardliners,
Yeah.
yeah, hardliners to reformers, back to
Mm-hmm.
hardliners. And Xi is
Mm-hmm.
considered a hardliner. I mean, he
Right.
likes
Yeah.
centralized decision making.
Yeah.
And that's part of
Yeah.
what's apparently going on. And apparently, people want to see what happens at this military parade because they believe the military, via, I admit, the dissident press, is claiming that they're waiting for the military to signify which faction they're going to back. Now, I think that
Mm.
might be apocalyptic talk. I don't think we're going to see a confrontation at the military parade, but it will be interesting to see if Xi shows up at the military parade and what kind of latitude they give him to speak. Will he speak at this thing? So the next couple months in China are going to be very interesting. And part of what's really making waves here is that the Shanghai Composite Index is touching highs that it has not touched in 5 years almost. It's been doing very well. Now, you could say that's correlating with the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, S&P, and other global equities where people are speculating. But here's the question. If the reformers were to take control of China, that might be a good thing for markets. Are people who have inside knowledge of what's going on in China actually betting on the markets doing better in Shanghai because they believe a change of government is going to take place? That's it.
Hmm.
It's a question. It's a question.
Yeah.
Let's
Interesting
talk.
question. I don't think anything. I think you're going to see Xi Jinping, like you always do, giving the speeches for these things and all that. I don't think, even if
Okay.
there are some behind the scenes reformers that are sort of giving him a little pushback, and they have to be
Mm-hmm.
careful about that if they want to keep their necks.
Well, let's
I think
let's see
that
over the next
I
two
think there'll be
months.
a quiet compromise, and we'll never know what the details are, and it'll be just business as usual. That's my
I
guess.
think I think we'll find out the end by the end of October after this
Mm-hmm.
conclave meeting. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about tourism now and being blindfolded and dropped off in places like Barcelona, Rome, Paris, London, Amsterdam, the Grand Canyon, every place in the world this summer, Northern Hemisphere, where tourists have been showing up in droves. Also, out on safaris, by the way. I don't know if you saw what was going on with all the Land Rovers showing up at the crossing where the wildebeests were supposedly crossing the river and they couldn't get across the river because there were too many tourists there.
That's too
Over
bad.
tourism has
Yeah.
become a huge problem. I mean, when you go to a place like Florence or Rome or Paris, some of these places in Spain, it feels like you're visiting an amusement park nowadays. You don't get anything authentic anymore. You just get ripped off. You're going to tourist cafes, tourist restaurants. What do you think about this whole avalanche of people just showing up all over the world now and basically, in my opinion, destroying the cultural identity that really exists in these cities by trampling on things?
Yeah, well, I think, don't forget, there's two factors at play also that play into all that this year. One has been growing into this year, which is that, a lot of people weren't traveling during the pandemic. Nobody was that first year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the travel industry has very slowly recovered since then. So there's more people traveling this year than in previous years. I think so that's kind of bottled up in them a little bit. And then the second thing at play is that there's not as many tourists coming to America as there used to be. A lot of them are
True.
either boycotting us because of the tariff thing, or it's just they're finding it too prohibitively expensive, or they're just angry. I mean, the Canadians in particular, Canadian travel to America is down 70%, I heard. Travel just from anybody into Las Vegas right now is down 35% from what it normally is, so all the
Mm-hmm.
hotels are suffering. And
But the
they're
residents,
seeing that.
Scott,
So I
the
think a lot of
resident,
those people are going elsewhere in the world, and so
hmm
there's this overflow. Um,
and the point being that the residents of these cities, like in Barcelona, in Italy, are losing their minds.
mm,
I mean, they can't have a normal interaction in their own city.
yeah, it'll probably wear off after. Look, a lot of them are gone on vacation this month because it's August, so in Europe particularly. So when they come back, I
This,
think there'll be a lot fewer people from around the world that are going to be there. So maybe it's just a temporary thing.
some of them, I don't know, some of these places have actually started to think about having a certain allotment of people that can enter the city. Venice, for instance,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is
I heard that.
apparently thinking about stopping the amount of tourists that are allowed to come into the islands
Mm-hmm.
during the day and
Yeah.
actually charging an entrance fee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that.
How would you like to have a place in Venice and have the tourist, swamp your apartment, swamp your house? I used to live in Jerusalem, okay,
Mm-hmm.
in an old part of the city called Ein Kerem. Very nice, very austere in the sense of looking ancient, okay?
Mm.
Stone houses, beautiful place inside a little valley. A tourist one day walked up into my house, up the stairs, opens the door, an old woman. She looks at me and says, "Where's the bathroom?" And I'm sitting on my sofa with my newborn daughter. And I looked at her and said, "Where do you think you are?" And it was an American woman.
Yeah,
She
of
said,
course.
"This is a museum, isn't it?" I said, "No, it's my house." She said, "But where's the bathroom?" I said, "I don't know where the bathroom is." She says, "But you must have a bathroom." I said, "But lady, I'm not letting you use my bathroom." Yeah. So
Uh,
this is what the people of Venice, Barcelona, all these places are suffering from right now.
yeah.
And I actually understand it. And if they start having a tourist tax or charging people for entering certain neighborhoods, I would completely understand.
So you know what you should have had when she wanted to use your bathroom? You should have had
Hmm.
a dead cockroach in the toilet. That would have taken care of the problem right there. She would come out screaming and running down the stairs. All content on the Risk Reward Show is for entertainment purposes only and not to be construed as financial advice. The hosts are idiots. They don't know what they're doing. They just walked in from the street. Investments involve risk, so please consult a qualified professional before making decisions.
All right, let's go into predictive survey part of our show. Is the US going to invest money into Intel? They got a $2 billion investment from SoftBank last week, and now President Trump has basically said the US is thinking about buying a 10% stake of Intel Corporation. Intel is trading around $24, $25 now. How exactly? Okay, here's the thing. Intel is maybe considered a very sensitive company because of what it produces. They don't want the product getting in the hands of the enemy, okay? However, how do you go from saying the CEO should be forced to quit to basically saying, we're going to give you 10% capital for your corporation and let you go at it? It's amazing to me.
Kind of makes you wonder what kind of behind the scenes deal making was going on between those guys.
It
Yeah,
also what bothers me about this is what I was talking about, the US incorporation of, or no, I called it the Americanization of corporations, where you basically had the United States backing certain corporations with this loud rhetoric right now, or Trump basically bullying corporations into doing things. I have to admit, this bothers me a lot.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Yeah, it's this is communist country stuff that you
Hmm.
hear about going on elsewhere,
It's
where the government takes a piece of a company and then has a controlling interest of some kind.
I don't know that it's communist, but has
It's
remnants
authoritarian.
from a
Authoritarian.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, from the nationalist background.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm a big believer in free enterprise. I really just do not like it a whole lot.
No,
All
I
right,
agree.
let's talk about baseball realignment. Have you heard about this? Apparently, the American League and National League may not exist anymore
Mm-hmm.
as we know it in a few years. The Major League Baseball people are thinking about adding a couple of teams and changing the divisions. What do you make of this?
I don't know. I mean, I get the urge to reduce flight time, travel time for normal games within divisions,
Hmm.
so they might do this regionally. But I'm pretty much against everything else. I mean, you're gonna if there's nobody knows exactly how the realignment's going to be. Supposedly, they're going to get rid of the names National League and American League, and it'll just be either four or more likely eight different regions
Yeah,
of
that's
teams.
what they're talking about.
Yeah,
They're
and
talking they're talking about putting the Mets and Yankees in the same division,
right.
like with the
So
Red
that's the
Sox
thing.
and Phillies.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you're going to have all these, like, top to bottom, like, if there's four or six teams or whatever in each division. And some of these regional, like the ones you just mentioned, those are some of the best teams in baseball. Now they're going to be playing
Yeah.
against each other. And so somebody, most of them won't be able to go to the playoffs after that. And then you've got other divisions where it's like a bunch of teams that haven't gone into the playoffs at all lately. And one or two of them are guaranteed a spot to go in.
Yeah, there
So
would be a lack of interest also.
yeah,
I
and what
mean,
does it do to the
with
common, like the traditional rivalries, like
yeah,
Giants and
this is
Dodgers and
it.
Mets and Yankees, or Yankees and Red Sox rather? It's just it kind of messes everything up. But I guess
Yeah,
we won't know
I
until
agree.
they figure it out. I don't think it's a good
You
idea,
know,
and I don't know what the players' union is going to do about this. I don't know how happy they're going to be because there's going to be
I
repercussions for players in some ways too.
I think there is a collective bargaining agreement that they have to basically work out this coming winter.
Yeah, there might be a strike next year.